So for this project, you'll have to remove the rear seats, the bench, and the back to access this because there's some screws. There is a screw in here that I removed that was buried under the seat. And then it just makes it easier access to everything. I'd say the hardest part of this to figure out without knowing anything prior is how to get this cap off right here. I'll show you how to do that. We actually ended up taking a screwdriver and putting down, and there's just little clips that hold it on. So yeah, that was the most difficult part, but overall pretty easy to get this panel off. So there's some screws that hold a bracket on for this seat latch, which are already taken out. Those are easy enough to get to. There is one more screw right below that. And then also what you'll have to do is remove the seat belt bolt, the bottom one right there. And then I removed the top one. You might not need to do this if you just want to pull the panel back, but I removed the top one on the other side. And there's also a screw. I don't know if you can see that. There's a screw right behind the seat belt that kind of stumped me the first time. You can't get the speakers out just through that mesh right here. You don't have access to the 4 screws that hold them in. On this one you can see the holes which the screws went into, the mountings on the speaker. So you do have to take the panel out, I believe. And oh, another somewhat hidden screw is right behind the seat belt right there. And then there's a bottom bolt that you take off after you have the panel loosened, so you can actually get a ratchet in there to loosen it and take it off. Then the seat belt just kind of sits up there and you can push it through the panel and get the panel all the way out of the car. After loosening the bolt that holds the top part of the seat belt to the pillar up here, that reveals the screw, which I've taken out already. And then this panel, you can just stick a screwdriver back there carefully and pry it out. It just clips in. And then that reveals a screw right back there that holds the panel in. So that's another hidden one. So as for this little top piece for the rear seat belt, you just gently pry from the sides after, of course, removing the screw. And then the clips inside should release where you can just lift it off. And if you look on the inside, these are just the little clips that hold it in. So it's not held in by anything other than that screw and those clips. And then you can get that off and just slide it down. And then there's a screw holding on the panel right there. And there's also one you can barely see right in there. So there's 2 up there. And then after those 2, this should be ready to come out. With all of the screws loosened, you should be able to do the last step, which involves pulling up gently on this piece that goes right along the edge of the door, as there are plastic clips in there that just clip in. So you just take and pull gently from somewhere up here. I've already got the clips separated, and this whole thing should fold out. So yep, now you can just gently pry the top part off of that rear seat belt, and then this whole panel should come down, revealing the speaker. I still need to feed the seat belts through. And then there's a 17mm bolt back here. You can't see it. There it is. That holds the back seat belt on. So you loosen that, and then you can take this whole panel out. It's completely detached. So those are the steps to take this rear panel off if you're replacing a speaker or the seat belt, or if you just want to replace the panel if it's kind of worn over the years. Now I'm going to show you how to get the driver's side door panel off. It'll be the same for each side. Now this is on my car instead of the Stealth, but it'll be the exact same thing. So there'll be a bolt, or a screw, sorry, right there, holding this little carpeted panel on. That'll peel off, and there'll be 2 more screws under that. Then there's a screw here on the side, and as well as another one right there. Then over here, you have little caps over these 2 screws. You'll take those out as well. Then there's going to be one in the vent that goes to the window defroster. And then one under the door handle. I'll take those out, and I'll pick this back up. Once you have all those screws out that are easy to get to, you'll pull the carpeted piece off. It'll be held in by these two little plastic pieces once you get that one screw out, so it'll just pull right off. Then it'll reveal these 3 screws under it. Be sure to get those out. And then you'll take the little door handle trim off. And then once you get all that out, you should be ready to lift the door panel off. The next step you will have to do is lift it up at a 45-degree angle towards the inside of the car. And that should lift it off the door. And then after you get it off, just be aware you have to unplug the electrical connector to the window switches and also this little light down here. And then here's the inside of the door panel, little door handle here if you need to replace that, or if you want to do your speakers, there's your speaker held in by the 4 screws. But yeah, other than that, everything is the same going back on, so that is how you take the door panel off. It is the same for each side.